Alright, I think we're alive and I think we're doing okay on the audio. I'll just scrub these stencils up from last week because an idiot as I was did not wash them last week. So naturally, of course, they're all caked up every single time. Hey there, Mr. Boss. Looks like you're the only person active at the moment. Hey, Sutterbridge. Hey, Blood. Okay, we should still be going by the time you get to work. Right, I don't even need that stencil tonight, but thought I'd better wash it. This is the one we need for tonight. Hi there, Mr. Lettuce Repair. Always interesting to see you on this side of the fence now, considering that we encounter each other on the Discord. Hey PR, hey Raj. Just cleaning up my equipment before I use it. When really it should be I should clean up the equipment after I use it. And stop it getting all messed up. Hey Danny Brooks. Because it's a lot easier to clean up after. It's kind of like with washing household dishes. It's easier to get them done while all the food material and stuff is still moist and soft and easy to get off the plates and the cooking utensils. Okay. Alright, so we're going to do a couple of ring lights tonight because I am behind schedule on that. How unusual, everybody says. Would never have thought that would happen, Paul. Just gotta find the circuit boards. Hey, Mr. Budger. Hi, John. Okay. Glasses. Actually that alarm is already gone. We do not do DLS here. We're a DLS free zone. We're sensible. We don't partake in such time atrocities. And of course, as it turns out, many other places in the world are considering following suit because they're realizing it's pointless. Come on now. Hey, Christian. Seems like I need a little more pace there. See, the thing is, if I get enough pace the first time, it stops me having to do a second sweep. And it's on the second sweep is when you cause drama, because you shouldn't really be second sweeping. At least not with a handheld sort of setup like this. It's different if you've actually got a proper stencil bench and squeegee setup. But when you're hack jobbing it this way, you only really want to do one take. Mr. Bodger, sort of, yeah, I mean, they're selling, but I'll be honest, I'm actually kind of thankful that they're not selling too much, because I'm being pretty busy with all the software situation. And there's only so many hours in the day, as we're aware of, and I'm really not keeping up with my other work, so not having sales, funnily enough, is actually in my favour. Okay. I suppose we should rinse this stencil. Before it gets all ugly like the other one. Oh, sabermetric. Okay. Ideal thing for me would be just to sell the license of the design to someone, but no one's going to buy a license of this design. Like I said, they'll just make their own. I totally respect that. I would too. As I always say, ideas are cheap and easy. What really matters is the implementation. And implementation is the hard part in this sort of work. The one's broken off. Oh. Well, maybe that was the one I deliberately took apart. Oh. Okay. Right, need a bunch more of the LEDs. Aha, you're an idiot. Oh no, it's okay, we're good. I thought I'd cut too soon. Now, where's the great new Saccage unit? Tangled up with all the other cables, of course. Nothing like a bunch of death traps under my workbench. Why not? Okay. Few less death traps. Hey, Electro Rip. Okay, let's do a little bit of zoom in. That should suffice. Yeah, every single time. Oh, that's a nuisance. Always. Okay, let's load up our first one. See if the suction's ready to do its job today. Seems so. Okay, one part done. Spray it down with the 100 nanofarads. Should just swing this back down. Oh, it's actually just holding that 708. Well, Milo make a noise, did he? I didn't hear him, but I'm sure you guys can because I can't. The joys of having terrible hearing. Oh no, I've got a problem. Oh, I was worried this was going to happen. Damn it, and I bought 1,000 of these bastards. Oh, that's so not good. Alright. We've got a situation. Basically, the rockers are exceeding... They're interfering with the board. And what's very frustrating here is that they are the same make and model and supplier, all that jazz, as what I started with. So, you know, I haven't changed my supplier, I haven't changed anything. I just said I'd like another 1,000 of them. And so they sent me another 1,000, but they're different. And this is the sort of thing why it's very difficult for me to consider, you know, when people say, oh, you know, you should get JLC or whatever to manufacture them for you. And it's stuff like this is why it's hard to take that leap. And as it is today, I did some work on a couple of boards that were sent to me that were also done by third parties like that. And they also had issues, even though they were supposedly all correctly designed, blah, 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 the right suppliers, all that sort of jazz. I've got another bag, fortunately, of about 100, so that's going to hold me over. Is this you? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we've still got some of the ones that do actually fit. That's really annoying. It's another bunch of money gone to nowhere. Well, to the pockets of people who shouldn't have it. No. So yeah, it's very hard to trust that your jobs are going to be done right with the right parts when you can't even get a consistent supply. And if you can't get consistent supply, even with all your attentiveness, then do you really think that some third party is going to put the extra effort in to make sure that their supply is consistent? I mean, for most things, it's probably not going to matter. But every now and then, it does. Because you end up designing something around a particular property of a part, and that property may not be considered necessarily important on the data sheet. Or it may not be a property that gets checked for during a comparison or a substitute swap. And so you end up ordering 500 of these units, and then they arrive and you find, well, they just don't work, or things are wrong because of that one part. I mean, obviously it works in real life, but usually there's quite a few cycles of trauma. So for me, it's probably just easier to license it off to someone else. Hey, Marvin. Oh, Mal. What are you doing, buddy? Where are you? Hope you're not on the air conditioner, buddy. Wrong place. Diamond painting? What's diamond painting? I'm just gonna check to see where Mo is. What are you doing up there, buddy? What? Are you gonna come down? What are you doing up for the air conditioner? Are you gonna come down? Is that yes or no? You're just the same. Yeah, alright, come on. Come down. Wow. Yeah? What is it? What? Come here. You're such a little troublemaker. Come on. Make sure you eat all these, okay? Don't want kind of micro eating them. Alright. One less kitty cat up on the air conditioner outside. At least for the moment. I'm probably going to get 15 minutes before he does that again. Because as far as he's concerned, after 10 o'clock I'm not supposed to be doing work. Yep, big time distraction tactics. A lot of this work would not take anywhere near as long. But it is what it is. Hey 3X, hi Joe. Unless I said hello to you before. Most of the time I would get the bulk of this work done during the day. But with the software development, and then I'm really getting hit lately with people turning up just with random questions about phones or computers. And yeah, I mean, it's like, I get that I'm advertised as a repair business and whatever, but it's just getting a little out of control lately, where you get people and they want to chat and talk for a little bit long, and then you can't convert that into dollars. Because most of the time it's either something you really don't want to be dealing with, or it's something that they're not going to end up wanting to pay for anyway, at least certainly not in any reasonable amount. And so basically spend 90% of your time talking the customer away. So like, look, I just can't do it, or won't do it, or whatever. And it eats into your day quite extensively. Just smeared the living daylights out of that one. It's like, you don't want to be rude to people. And you may technically be able to resolve their issue, but it's not what you're doing as your business. And yeah, it's as simple as that. It's not what you're doing as a business. And you feel for some of the people, because you're like, I realise that you're in a situation where no one else is really helping you, and you've come to me as a last desperate attempt because you're thinking, I don't want to go to Mr. Daniels, and I'm not helping you either. But at the end of the day, if I deal with all of those, then I will not be able to do any of the things that I do uniquely. Like, I would not have the time to work on the Flexboard view, or I would not have the time to work on MacBook repairs and things like that. And so therefore I'd be providing a disservice or a loss to everybody else who was waiting for those services. Because at least those kind of things, like, the phone migrations or things like that, they can be done by a lot of different people. And there's certainly websites like Apple have plenty of help guides on them. But there are services that I'm providing that can't be done by a lot of people. We have a boat. Oh, right. What is this tool using to place components? It looks so easy to place. Marvin, it's just an aquarium pump, a suction pump. Yeah. This is it. I've modified it slightly, but basically, yeah, that's it. By default, they have this hole here that you're supposed to cover with your finger, but I find it easier to put a tap midway through the line and use the other hand to do it. Realistically, 90% of the time, you don't even have to. Most of the time, the suction that this provides is sufficiently low that as soon as the part comes in contact with the solder paste, then that surface contact, that surface adhesion, overrides whatever the suction's trying to do. So you basically permanently keep your finger on there and just go. Every now and then you'll take it off just for some things, usually for trying to place and rotate the part. And they're cheap enough on AliExpress or whatever. I think that one was about $30 or something like that. And they come with two of those little wands. I already had the midline tap from my previous one. But they really are just aquarium pumps. They've just reversed the valves on them internally. They've done a better job than what I did with mine. So like for all of these LEDs, I'm not lifting my finger off the inline valve tap. Definitely does make quick work of this sort of thing. Placing down many of the same type of part in the same orientations. Hey, Maktaba. Unfortunately, it does have enough suction to pick up things like these SO8s. It loses the battle a fair bit with the D-packs, though. It doesn't quite... What doesn't help with the D-packs is that they're not balanced in the middle. So like if you get it just right, you can pick them up. But it is precarious, and you probably wouldn't want to do that over a highly densely populated board, just in case you drop it halfway and then mess up some other things. Okay, that's basically them all. Shift that a little bit. Alright, stick that onto the cooktop and bring the cooktop over. Away we go. Extractor on. And while we wait for that, we'll clean up the mess. Oops. Yeah, I'd say I've probably got enough of those rocker switches to last me through to the point where I'm not going to be making these anymore. So it's, something like another 100, and then I think I'll be calling it a day. It's not something I want to keep producing forever. Not personally, anyway. What are we at? We're only at 76 Celsius. We've got a long way to go. Da, 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 da. 23:18. Running a little bit late here. How is it that we've already been at this an hour and a half? That doesn't make sense. No, we haven't. We've only been at this 45 minutes. Thank goodness for that. I was going to say, because normally 1 hour, 1 hour quarter, 1 hour 15 is about what it should take me. Okay, we're at 100. I'm still trying to get used to this new 4K screen. It's like I do need maybe something a little bit bigger, like 36, 37 inch would have been nice. 40 is just too much. This is a 32. It's stuck in a... It's stuck between two sizes. And I could get a 5K, 2K one, which is basically an extra wide, but it'll probably be the same thing anyway. Hey Zoltan. Yeah, right now I'm running two screens. I've got the 4K screen over there, and then I've got a 1080 in front of me here. The 1080 is used for me to see what the output from OBS is. 153, we'll start smoking a bit soon. And this is all running off a NVIDIA T400 card, so it's a 3 output card. So I've got one more screen output I could use. It doesn't have any trouble running 4K. 60 frames per second. And OBS is only running at it's not even 10% CPU. Obviously I'm only encoding in 1080 for the video. The smoke's flying off. We're at 180. Yeah, we're already reflowing, so that thermostat must be slightly off. Alright, I can switch that off at this point. Something must be impeding the suction because it's not getting all of it. A little bit closer. I think maybe I need a new filter in there. The thing with these ring lights is that you want to make sure that the parts are in place before it cools back down, because trying to rework these aluminium boards is a nightmare. Fortunately, Christian, with the T400 it's not so bad, because I'm not doing gaming level stuff. Basically I'm using the T400 predominantly as an encoder for OBS, because the integrated Intel GPU is perfectly fine for doing this sort of work. Ach, yeah, man. Ah, fuck. I touched it. That's what I get for talking to you, Christian. There you go, I'll have to fix that up. It's annoying. This is the only trouble with using hot plates like this, is that you need to get the board off fairly quickly, but it's almost always going to be slightly fluid still at that point. It's a bit of a pain. The smaller one, not so much. And this is why doing it in an oven is a much better option. I do have an oven in case anybody's wondering. I just don't ever use it for live streams. Testing your OpenWRT flash route. Oh wow, you've actually got one of those still. I remember those from the early 2000s. Hey Neo, Teresa, you did. Switch off that. We're probably not going to do the full build. We're just going to test, see if they fire up. I've got other things I've got to get to. Okay, so fortunately at least that controller's good. There's no problem there. We'll program it and fire it up. A bit of ball spittage, but nothing bad. The biggest issue is always making sure that these controllers are looking good, and they are there. That looks fine. Making sure we don't have any tombstones. Look good there. Tombstones are when you get these parts here and they stand up on one end. Okay, so we've got this dud here. Just to demonstrate just how difficult it is to rework these, I will do so. Actually, you know what? It's so annoying. I'm actually not going to. I'm going to just use the small hot plate to do it. Really, what will happen if I try to use hot air to fix that? I'll end up melting or burning out the LEDs either side. Whereas at least this way, with the small hot plate, I can get in quickly, do the job. At least this one ramps up real quick. Well, when I say real quick, quicker than the other one. Hey Serge, how's it going there? I've got a wireless Wi-Fi access point coming in the next couple of days. Surprised how cheap they are. It's not a modem router, it's just simply a Wi-Fi, one of those things where you can use it either as a bridge, an AP, or whatever. There's a third thing. And I'm just going to be using it so that I can put Wi-Fi into the center of the house. And it's got 4 network ports on the back, so the TV and the gaming machine will be directly wired, and then I'll broadcast Wi-Fi. See, the trouble is this house has solid block walls and they're 220mm thick, and then the router itself is probably 3 of those walls through, so yes, 2 foot to get through. It's not easy. Come on, you're almost there. But I was surprised how cheap it was, like 30 Australian dollars for it. And that was 2 and 5 gigahertz. 4 antenna array. Okay, that's it. I mean, to be fair, it's a TP-Link, but quite frankly, for household use, I'm fine. I know there's plenty of people who will scream and cry at that, but really, it's fine for me. Hey, Peter. Alright, let's get this thing's programmed. Wait, what? Where the hell is my light? Oh. Hey, Homer Simpson. From Offense. One. Ach, nee. Misaligned that one. Oh, thank you, Homer. I've actually got another one coming sometime soonish. But there's a few things I want to improve. Certainly, I've already made the appearance of the XZZ stuff even better. Just I'm trying to get things really good before I ship it out again. It won't have the traces on this release, but when I'm looking at it, say if I'm looking at the iPhone 7 board, it's looking really nice now. Okay, that's all programmed. For now, at least it's working with the PCB files, and that's the main thing. And it's also giving people a chance to go out there and start collecting these PCB files, because until now we've had no reason to bother collecting them. I mean, sure, we got the dump last year, but it was like, we can't do anything with these files. They're pointless, nothing reads them. So now that we can read them, we're like, right, now it's time to go out and start collecting as many of these files as we can before we lose access. All right. Good. There is a public FTP, not even FTP, there is a public site now that isn't torrent, it's just a normal HTTP server sort of thing that is available and has pretty much everything as we're finding it. But yeah, it's exciting new days. We're just getting a hold of all the files we can, which is great because it means finally we can catch up. Because until now we've basically been stuck with maybe the iPhone 12 and almost none of the iPads, things like that, and now we've got them all. It's like, yeah. Okay, they're all working good and proper. That's Christian. That's the obviously for Flexboard View. I don't distribute any of the PCB files. There are other places. I don't actually have a hand in. that's where some of the complication is coming in. People are approaching me and saying, hey, can you send me all the files? And I was like, I don't have the files. I said, I can direct you roughly to where they are, but I personally don't have them. The best place to go is on Badcaps, because there is now a thread there for XEZ PCB talk, so to speak. And so as new sites come up, or as new packages of these files come out, people are going to be putting them in there. So I create the viewer for them, but I'm not actually packaging and distributing the files. So from a legal perspective, that's the way to do it for me. There are other people who are maybe in less, how could you say, maybe in areas where they're less likely to get tapped on the shoulder by Apple over this sort of thing. Now, I know it seems silly. You'd be like, well, why would Apple have anything to do with this? It's because they're still Apple's files and schematics. They're just slightly packaged in a slightly different format, but it's still their stuff. How are you supplying voltage from the potometer to the LED? Let's see, ANAND, you're talking about on here? The traces are all on there. It's just masked over in white, and it's a single-sided board. Obviously, as you can see, the other side is pure aluminium. There is a fairly thick layer beneath the copper that isolates the copper from the aluminium. Hey, B-Blood, sadly almost about done too, sorry buddy. But you can see the traces there. So all this it's just a three-way gang switch. So you got one switch that way, one switch that way, and one switch for push on and off. And the AVR just simply reads that, and it converts internally. It just creates a PWM signal, which is fed into this chip here. And this chip is the one that regulates the output to the LEDs. So all the AVR is doing is basically interpreting what goes on from this into the PWM signal for this. This here takes the full voltage, like the 20 volts or 24 volts coming in, and it handles everything. So it's a really neat chip for the way it does that, but it does have the limit that I can't have more than 7 of these LEDs per chain, and there's the 4 chains. So I could actually technically handle the 4 chains slightly separately, but anyway, that's just the way it is. That's why it is limited to 28 LEDs, and that is why we're sitting on 24 volts. I sort of maxed out what I could. This here is a big overkill, but the reason why I went with the traditional old 7805 is because we've got 20 volts coming in, and we only need 5 volts coming out and a very small amount of milliamps, and that is just simply to make the AVR run. There's another reason I'm using the AVR is they are 5 volt capable, whereas things like the STMs are 3.3 volt, and this here is also 5 volt capable for the signaling. So it all came together in this package. A lot of the time your designs tend to get dictated by the availability of parts that are going to work together for you. So it's not always a case of I want to use this part. It's a case of, okay, this is the compromise that I was able to make to get the production, the product that I want. And I've got lots of free soldables here. This is a result of excessive thickness in this the paste, which is entirely my fault because it wasn't vacuum stuck when I applied the paste. It's not a problem that the balls are there. They're not going to actually cause any trouble. They're not going to roll off and bridge with anything. It's just not going to happen. AVRs are much nicer to use too. Well, I mean, I like them, and particularly with the new UPDI or UDPI, whatever, the new one-wire programming interface, it's an absolute breeze. I love it. And for smaller production runs like this, the cost extra for the AVR really isn't a big impediment. Maybe if you're doing a 10,000 run, you'd go, okay, look, we're going to save 10 cents per microcontroller at 10,000. So if we spend another 1 cent, with a different regulator, then we can make that work, so on and so forth. So, if you're getting up into those high numbers, fine, go for the redesign. But for this sort of stuff, for boutique manufacturing, as it were, I'm fine paying 50 cents for the AVR. And they're dead easy to program, very simple, just small amount of code. I think this is like, what is this one? 710 bytes I have to flash into that, which is absolutely trivial. Alright, that's it for me tonight. Thank you all for watching. Yeah, it's 20 to 12. I've kind of run on a little bit long. I've still got some software development to do, but I had to get these done because tomorrow I have to ship them out along with more USB-C meters. So more than likely I'm going to stop producing these things after the next 100 or so. So if you do want to get one, then I suggest you sort of throw your order in sooner rather than later. I may still produce some later, but it would be at a much slower rate, as in I won't be pushing out the orders within a week or less. Instead it will be when the next batch gets done or something like that. So if you're after one, don't wait around too long, because I probably will wait quite a while before I get a whole new batch of parts, because usually when I go to manufacturing these things, I tend to buy the parts to make the block of part, as in buy enough to make 100 and then that's it. So as you can imagine, it's going to take me a while before I consider going around to the next block of 100. So alright, I'm out of here. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all on the next one. Till then, you all take care. I'll catch you later.